on?
Yeah, we're doing rib cook-off over at the fair in Williston, I guess. So
Oh, okay.
should
How
be good time.
what's the strategy there? How you have you started smoking them, and this is just in your waiting for them to finish,
No,
or is
so
it
it's
all
tomorrow.
tomorrow?
It's tomorrow. We'll
Oh,
we'll take the. I got a couple smokers. We're going down. Um, there's actually like three teams from Crosby going to do it, but um, I don't know. We got to take the win. Top prize is $2,000, so could
oh,
use that.
yeah. What? So who's on the team? Is it just you, or you got a couple other guys?
Well, so it's just me and Nate Nelson. I think you met him at the
Y-
wedding, and
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Divide County legend.
Yep.
I think it's just me and him. Another guy, Josh Bummer, I think might be able to help us out. He's sponsored us. The depot up here in Crosby, they're sponsoring us, so he's gonna help out. And then I don't know if Mariah will get down there, but she won't be much help anyway.
I got you. What's the strategy for the ribs? How are you? What's the plan to smoke them?
Oh man, we're going with some fire apple ribs. Fireball whiskey getting sprayed on there. And then I made some homemade barbecue sauce, heavy on the apple flavor. So hopefully the combo takes the top prize. Sweet and spicy, just how I like it.
Okay. Are you doing the 3-2-1 method, or are you doing a different
Basically,
way?
yeah, kind of
Yeah.
my own take on 3, 2, 1, I guess, but it's pretty simple.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Do they have a lot of teams entered for it, or is it a
Dude, I think there's only like 8 teams, so and three of them are from Crosby, so we better at least get something.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. I bet you it's got to be a pretty good if it's three groups. I bet you guys have are you guys all doing different ones, or is it something
Yeah,
similar?
it's three different teams. So you met Kenny. Kenny and his
Yep.
wife Jesslyn are doing it, and then the people that own Self Serve have a team too. So hopefully, we want a clean Crosby sweep, but knowing our luck, we won't get nothing.
Oh, do they give out what prizes to the top three, or?
Yeah, top three, and then people's choice, I guess. So
Oh, okay. So
I
do
don't
you
know,
get to
but
do some of the sampling? Do you get to do the voting too?
I don't think we get to vote, but I'm definitely going to sample.
Okay.
Definitely
I
sample.
I well can't blame you there. I know Dickinson, they just had their big Bakken barbecue. I didn't get to make it, but I know people who were there, they said they were lined up. They had it at the rec center, and they said they were so far back parked behind states, they were giving out shuttles to different spots so they could pick people up so they didn't have to walk as far.
Jeez. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of surprised there's not that many teams. I think I said 8. Um, but each team has like 50 pounds or more of ribs, so I think there'll be plenty of ribs for anyone that's coming out.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, is that have you made this way done this recipe before, or is this something new you're trying?
I've done it in small batch. We'll see how it works large batch, but they've been pretty good in the past. Gotta
Okay.
take out Kenny. That's my only goal is beat Kenny.
that's a good goal. Uh, and I don't know if you've noticed, but we are recording, by the way. So this is Conversation Monday. It is with my good buddy. Won't hold this against him. His name's Dillon Loper. He spells it the wrong way, but
No.
we've been friends since we were very little. Our dads used to work together, and somehow we've stayed in touch throughout the years. And now we're podcasting. He is coming up to almost Canada, a town called Crosby. You've been there for what? Quite a while now. Was it five, six
This
years going
this
on?
is year 8. Year 8.
You're 8. Oh wow. I wasn't even close.
Been there a
But
while now.
okay. So and you teach, is it sixth grade, correct?
5th and 6th grade math. It's been just 5th grade. We're kind of trying a little bit of a junior high type thing this next year, but I'll just have one subject, so it's kind of the easy way out. But I love it. I like math. I'm not that good at it, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
I was in my I in your defense, I was really only good at like for multiplication. I was really only good at sevens because that's what touchdowns were with
Yep.
an extra point. So 7, 14, 21. Could always do those. The rest were iffy. But now you how did you decide to become a teacher?
Oh, I don't know. I can't do anything else, I guess. I don't know. We so I graduated from Wilton High School, and they had a program your senior year, like during if you had like an extra study hall, um you could kind of like mentor an elementary class. And so I mentored like a second grade class and loved it. Kids were cool. I don't know. And that was kind of the start where I'm like, hey, this is what I want to do. I also figured a lot later in life than I should have, but that I was not going to make like the NBA or NFL. So I figured the next best thing is coaching. And I figured what better thing to do is teach and coach. So that's kind of the gist of it. I like kids. I like sports. Get to coach most of the year, so it's the best combo.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you're coaching football and golf.
Yep.
How's the golf game coming along? Are you going about 3 under par? Have you figured
Ooh,
that out yet? Is that what your summers are?
I don't know. My personal golf game is at an all time high right now. Uh, doing all right, but even that's still not great. I did shoot. I finally broke 80. I think I sent you the Snapchat.
Yep, you
That was,
did.
that was that was a good moment. I've been flirting with it, but no, it's been fun. I get out. That's the joy of being a teacher too, is you get to have summers off, and so I get to go out about 4 or 5 times a week, and I'm not as good as I should be going out that much, but it's pretty fun. Pretty fun. Hopefully, have more birdies than you have bogeys, but that never happens.
Right. Well, now that you broke 80, is it now that since you've broke 80, now do you have to move back to the men's tees?
Yeah, I really think yeah, I wish they had the tips at Crosby, but not quite that level of course, but need more of a challenge now, I guess.
Yeah, well, you can come down to Dickinson. We can go golf Bully, South Hart. I don't know if that's ever going to be open this summer, but maybe towards the end. But Bully is operating. Dickinson is going. I've been got absolutely destroyed in league last night. Did not play well, but team still got a win, so that's what matters.
It's team sport, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Thank God for that too, because there were some rough ones.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you remember Craig. Me and him
Oh
are
yeah.
coming down. We might hit up Bully in July, but man, my summer
Okay.
is just starting to fill up. It's crazy how even though you're off, it just fills up with all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Next week's already the 4th. You blink now, football season is going to be starting. Football is about 5 weeks away. We just finished up hot camp, and yeah, before you know it, football is going to be here. How are you do you guys start the 3rd too?
Yep. August 3rd, start date. Kind of excited. We've been doing summer lifting. Uh, we're going to be young. We're going to be really young this year. But that being said, we've had a lot of turnout from the younger crew of kids coming up, so that's very positive to see.
Yeah, what no how are you guys looking numbers wise?
Oh, I don't know. We'll probably be mid 20s is my guess. We usually have pretty decent numbers, but we graduated. I think it was 10 kids last year,
Oh wow.
including a couple all staters, back to back all staters. So it's always tough to fill those shoes. I mean, like Wyatt Carabello. I don't know if you've heard his name.
I've
Uh,
heard the
he's
name, yep.
he's up there in the Divide County lore. He has about every rushing record. If I remember right, he's gotten all state the last 3 years. I think I know for sure the last 2 years, and then Easton Eriksmo, he was all state quarterback, and or I guess he got it for linebacker, but he was a really good quarterback. We run the triple option, so he's running the ball a lot. But he's really good, and so those two guys plus quite a few others graduated last year. So a lot of new spots, including quarterback and running back, both or one wide receiver. and most of our line. So it'll be a challenge this year to see how we do, but it's always fun to see kids grow. We'll have a lot of the younger kids step up this year and let the chips fall, I guess.
Yeah, well, you're gonna get better by playing football, and not by just standing there. It's a bit of a sink or swim method where you find out what the team's made of, and in the end, if they're able to handle it, you guys are gonna turn out all right. Who's gonna be some of the tough teams in your guys' region?
Oh, I don't know. It is nice that Ray Powers Lake got bumped up. They're usually always tough, but they're 11-man now. In fact, they're in your guys' group, isn't they? With Trinity.
That or yeah, 11B, but we would only play them in the playoffs, which we
Oh yeah,
did
yeah,
last
yeah.
year. We played them in the first round of the playoffs last year, um and then played Velva the next week. But yeah, so we would only play them if they if we both make playoffs. That's the only time our paths would cross. Our non-conference is divide or not divide. We do not play you guys. Is Delax and Minot Ryan.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Like Mohall's usually pretty tough. Boy, I don't really know because they redid the regions too. I think West Hope's in with us. They're gonna be really tough. They're the ones that knocked us out of the playoffs last year after we beat them in the regular season, and then they came back with a vengeance, and neither team could stop each other. And that Broughton kid, he just runs all over. He can sling the rock. He's one of the best passers I've seen in 9-man football. Um, Man, he's a tough kid to face. So I would say those teams over there probably some to watch out for. We're hoping to make the playoffs and just see what happens.
Yeah, that's all you can do. 26 kids though. That's for 9 men. That's a pretty solid. That's pretty solid numbers. That's a deep team. Teams we play half the time are lucky if they can get 25, 26 kids out. So you guys are able to have that those numbers. That's got to be a huge advantage.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get that anyway. I mean, that's kind of you do these signups in the spring for what kids are going to do in the fall, and there's so many kids that didn't sign up that end up playing. There's so many kids that did sign up that don't, and I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, what happens after week one or so. But like I said, we'll be young, and but that's also a blessing, because hopefully we can build something and then, just keep building as the years go.
Yeah. Do you guys? Because I'm being from Crosby. Do you guys have a lot of? I'm guessing you guys deal with a lot of um it's a farming community. Does that pull kids away from going out for football since it's right in the middle of harvest time, or are you usually able to get those kids out?
Not really. We're usually able to make it work, and we like to work with the kids as best we can. Try to get practice done in the morning so they can go farm, or a lot of kids go hunting or whatever. But for the most part, everyone comes out that we kind of expect. I mean, I will say just in general, I'm sure you see it down south there too. Just I don't think as many kids are coming out for sports in general, whether it be football, basketball, whatever it is. I feel like numbers are down in general, but I that's just an assumption too.
Yeah, I think you see some of it. Uh, it'll be interesting to see. I think that was one of the big reasons why they implemented the three class system is to see the numbers go up. Will it go up? We'll find out. But um,
Yeah,
with that going, you could also see a lot of co-ops dying as well because if there's more kids going out, they're from numbers they're going to be able to break off from those co-ops.
well, that's kind of what I hope happens is, I mean, I think co-ops are a great thing when it's truly necessary. You got to do what you got to do to have a program, but some of these teams are just co-oping to co-op. Without pointing fingers, there's definitely some that I think statewide uh, people know about that it's just like you don't need to. You're both pretty good sized, and why don't you each have your own teams? And yeah, you're gonna take your licking some years, because you're only one school. But I don't know. I'm a fan of the three class system now. I fought it for a little while at the beginning, but I mean, you see some of these little towns that are trying to hang on and trying to compete, whether it be with the parochials or whether it be your bigger schools like out west. Up here we have Stanley, Newtown, which they have down years just like everyone too, but they're also way bigger than anyone else. Um, and it's just tough, especially like in Crosby we have a little bit of a different. We don't have wrestling, but we have hockey. Hockey's huge up here, but just trying to support two sports in the same season with a small community is just tough. And that's where I think the three class system will really help, kind of level the playing field and whatnot. And hopefully we do see more individual schools being able to have their own teams and have that school pride, especially when, anymore you're seeing rivals are co-oping with each other. And not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but it's kind of fun to keep those rivalries going, keep that up and that town spirit. And I guess I don't know how you feel, but you go through when I'm traveling across North Dakota, I think of what their school is. And so if they don't have a school, I'm like, wow, it's a tiny town that doesn't really have anything going on.
Yeah, it's here. I know there's a lot of people that aren't fans of it. For me, I think there's a lot of schools too that have been clamoring and begging and pleading for a three class system, and where it's, oh, once we get this, we're going to be going to state every year. This is going to solve all our problems. But for the most part, those schools can't get out of their own way. They get good coaches, they run them off. The good coaches don't want to stay because they just don't want to deal with the parents,
Exactly.
administration, school board, all that type of stuff. Which I think, and I've said it on previous podcasts that I've had with when discussing this, is it's a good time for, okay, now this three class system is here. Let's get everybody in a room. Let's chat, hash things out. Let's make sure we are on the same page. We might have some disagreements, but let's try to get on the same page where how things get done, how we're going to handle parents, how we're going to handle the school board, where if we get the right coach in place, how do we keep them here and sustain it throughout where we can have continued success? Because I mean, you look at so many of these small towns, when they get good coaches, some of these coaches, they're just looking at it as a step in the right direction to go to a bigger school, and then they leave, and that's a part of it. But there's also coaches that do want to stay, and then they get so worn down between dealing with everything of the stresses of being a teacher, being a coach, dealing with students, administration, parents, staff, and it's like, this, for the time I'm putting in, it's not worth it. So it's building and establishing a culture. I think that's just as important as anything for this three class system. The teams that are going to be able to do that are going to be the ones that you're going to continuously see at the state tournament every year.
Yeah, I mean, you're preaching to the choir there, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of, it will be interesting to see. Like you say, some parents just think, oh, well, now so and so is out of our region, we're just gonna waltz to the state tournament, and it's like, no, it's still gonna be competitive. I mean, it's gonna be tough for at all three levels. There's still really good teams here, there, and everywhere. So I mean, I don't know. What I think will be interesting is comparing. The B was so special, especially when before all of the co-ops. Not there again, not to knock co-ops, but there used to be what 120, 130 teams in the state,
Yep.
and only 8 of them get to make it. And so that's where that is really cool with the B, is you have that prestigious element to it. But this gives a chance. It levels the playing field. Um, I think it'll still mean a lot to go to state. I actually really like. I'm still not exactly sure how that setup goes, but I think it's kind of like South Dakota does with the almost like a Sweet 16 style or like a challenge game, kind of like Montana,
Yep.
um, where you can because I mean like I have a buddy over that was coaching over at North Border over there in Walhalla, and they had a really good team this year, and they had one bad game in regionals, and they lost first round over to Mayport, and part of it was they're in a region with Oak Grove or not Oak Grove, excuse me, Grafton and uh,
Cavalier.
Cavalier, Hillsboro. I don't know. There's like 3, 4 of them that were all tied towards the top.
Thompson, I think's in that
Thompson, yep,
region.
yep. So I mean, I don't remember all the situation, but basically there's like a 3-way tie for second, like the second seed, and they ended up getting the fourth. Got upset by Mayville, and the season's done. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I think that's a beauty of. I mean, you look at March Madness, one and done. It's awesome, but at the same time, I mean, when you got 3, 4 really good teams in a region, and then I'll admit over here up in the Northwest, like we're pretty sparse. I mean, we have a few really good teams at the top, but the depth isn't there, whether that be basketball or football for that matter. And so it is kind of nice where you can challenge and say, hey, our region, we think we can send multiple teams to state tournament. We're going to challenge and prove it. And then we go, so it kind of gives everyone an opportunity, and that's good and bad. But I'm excited to see how it plays out. Um, it'll be fun. It's exciting seeing North Dakota history kind of unfold in front of our eyes.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be fun. We'll see. I wouldn't be shocked too. The other part of it is, within the first 5 years, how many teams of the same teams are going to be back those 5 years, and then could also see, and I'm sure it's going to happen, where it's going to be teams with higher enrollment that are kind of on the fence of being that middle or lower class, but they're able to stay in that lower class where they're dominating and staying. It's like, well, how come we're not getting a fair shake? I think it's bound to happen. It is what it is, but in the end, it's going to be those schools that are are dysfunctional, and that have always been dysfunctional, and nothing is going to change until somebody gets in there and puts their foot down. But because now Crosby or Divide County, they're going to be they'll be in Class
They'll be
B,
Class B,
correct?
yeah, the
Okay,
lowest.
who's in your guys' region?
So it'll pretty much be the same. I'd have to look it up. It'll be pretty much the same. I know Stanley will go up, and I believe Newtown will go up. And then we get some teams from over by like Minot. I know, like, I think Berthold's coming. I think Mohall. I don't know because if I remember right, Minot Ryan's staying down, aren't they? Or are they opting
I
up?
I've heard both ways. I've heard they are staying down, and I've also heard they are staying up.
Because
I
yeah,
believe our Redeemers is staying down though, correct?
I don't know. I haven't looked at it. I uh, I kind of got burnt out a little bit on the basketball scene a couple years ago, so I haven't followed it quite as much. I know it dips a little bit more into those Minot areas. Obviously, like the Mandarese, some of those will still be in our region. Because there's no districts anymore. It'll just be the regions. So it'll be interesting. I'm kind of curious to see, and maybe this. Are they gonna do different times? Like, say, like for a school like Crosby, we have to travel so far. I mean, because there's nothing west of us, there's nothing north of us, literally in the country, and
Yeah.
and so like finding games is really hard for us. So I'm kind of curious, like if we play Stanley, who's gonna be Class Single A now, Are they going to have like a point system, or how are they going to do that? Or are they going to even allow that? Do
Yeah,
you have a thing?
I think they're gonna allow A and B teams to play each other for that reason, for travel purposes and easiness of games. And most of those ADs, they have relationships through
Oh yeah.
previous from throughout the years where it's like, hey, schedule, we got open date here. Yeah, okay, sounds good. And then I think that's how that's gonna work. I can't imagine that not. Um, you know, I also know that I think I heard that they will be seeding instead of the seeding the top five, they're going to seed 1 through 8 now, which will be nice to see. Uh, Realistically, for the most part, I think those the 1, 2, and 3 seeded games, for the most part, I think they do get them right. I don't think there's been a one seed that has lost in the opening round of the tournament since they've started doing it, but uh and then the other part too is the A and the B, the state tournaments are going to be the same weekend in
Yeah.
different spots. So it'll be interesting to see where, as far as attendance and viewership on TV goes, as far as which one's going to be more watched, the A or the B.
Yeah, I'm really curious. I mean, I know you as a Trinity guy might disagree, but the whole argument is it's always Trinity, and it's always whether it be Trinity or Beulah, and then there's always Shiloh, and then usually a Minot one, maybe Oak Grove, and then lately it's been like, I mean, Thompson's right there by Grand Forks, Kindred by Fargo. It's a lot of these. That's kind of the narrative is they don't like these big school, small big town small schools, right? Is kind of the narrative. So that's a great point. I'm kind of curious how that viewership is going to go, especially if that trend continues. If that single A does become that, it would be interesting to see, are people that interested, or is it just kind of going to be the people from the school? And that being said, those schools earned it though. I mean, I watched most of the state tournaments ever since I was a kid, and it's like, I see playing any of those schools. I mean, they are some of the best teams. Like, there's just no doubt about it. They play good basketball. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see the viewership of, is it more that small town pride, or is it truly basketball, or hopefully there's good viewership for both. Really, that would be the best case scenario, that everyone's tuning into both, and they're just flipping back and forth to whatever game's best at that time.
Yeah. And you mentioned the Trinity, the Beulahs, the Oak Groves, the Thompsons. Similarly, Brant. Well, now he's gone and move into Minot. I don't know if this is. I've heard that he's actually going to be an assistant for Minot State.
Yeah, I
But
can't remember where he's
Trinity,
going, but that'll be interesting to see
he's
how
going
Beulah
to
does without him.
he's because they hired his top assistant. I believe he's got a son that plays on the team. But I mean, Brant's been at Beulah forever.
Yeah, he does a
Trinity
heck of
with
a job.
Grinsteiner. Thompson's had a coach has had that same coach forever, I believe, as
Yep.
well.
Just like
You know,
Four Winds,
all,
Four Winds. He's been
yeah,
there too.
all these coaches who have been established and you know, coaching high school, they're at such a ripe age where there's so many things changing as far as, you don't know what you're going to get on a daily basis. A day before your region championship, the kid could have his girlfriend dump him or whatever, anything like that's going to affect the kid a lot more maybe per se than it would an adult or a professional, because they're not professionals. They won't be professional sports more than likely. And you're dealing with that and molding them, and having changes as far as like coaching changes, learning new things over and over again, it takes a toll on a kid.
Oh yeah. Well, like like we said earlier, I mean, we're not going to get into the details.
Yeah.
You know how I feel about that, but I mean, I look it up here. You're exactly right. like you say, those programs that are out consistently going to state, they've had the same coaches, and that doesn't mean that it's necessarily the coach doing. You obviously have to have the good athletes. You have to have a lot of luck go your way as well. But I mean, I look at our football program. You know, we've talked about this, me and you, quite a few times of these, you know, football up here, and not that we're by any means a top 5 program in the state, but I mean, we've consistently been a playoff team. I think I'd have to ask Brownie, but Bob Brown, I mean, he's got to get into the Coaches Hall of Fame up here. I think he's on year 30, 31, something like that. And he's made playoffs, I think 28 or 29 of those years, you know. And then, you know, Nate Nelson comes along and they become co-head coaches. I think Nelly's been, I want to say like 23 years, give or take.
Yeah, something like that.
You know, and I think there again, we've only missed playoffs like once in there, and there's something to be said about that. I mean, we make tweaks every year. I mean, I've been around 8 years now, so I'm kind of getting used to the continuation of everything, and that's definitely to be said. I mean, we teach, we're a veer midline triple option team, and we teach that at the junior high. We teach it all the way down, and every year, every summer, we know what we're doing. We're going to teach relatively the same thing. We'll put wrinkles in every year, but we're going to play power football, and this is what we do. There's a reason it works, and that's not only the program, but that's, you know, coaching all the way down, and it's consistency. I mean, the kids, by the time they're juniors and seniors, they know exactly what to expect, and that's what's really fun to see. And I've been able to learn under them is, you know, they come in as freshmen, they got a little bit of an idea of what to expect, just because we try to keep the junior high program pretty locked in with what we're doing at the high school. And then by senior year, they just have it down. You know, they know what we expect. We have a high standard that we set for the kids, and they get that, and they come in ready to work. And you don't really hear much of anything about it because we've been doing it so long that, you know, people don't raise their any stink about things, because it's just expected. That's where, like you say, when teams are just switching coaches out all the time, there's different expectations, there's different rules, there's different regulations, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone has their different styles, but it is, I mean, kids don't know what to expect on a day to day or year to year, and that's just where we're at, you know, and that's tough to build a program when you're changing coaches every 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other part of it too is the kids these kids that have had successful program they work hard. They're in the gym. They're
Yep.
lifting weights. They're doing all those small things, those little details that in the end lead to wins and make the difference of, you know, advancing from, you know, making the playoffs to missing it, or, you know, making quarters to semis to the state title. You know, all those things. It's not an easy thing to do. Winning is hard. There's a reason why teams celebrate the way they do after a win, because it's hard. You don't people don't realize the investment, the time, all that work they put in, and for it to pay off, whether they win by 50 or they win by 2. A win is a win, and you enjoy it and be happy, because it's not easy.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, success breeds success. That there's no doubt about that. And I forget who quoted it, but you know, everyone pictures themselves hitting the shot in the fourth quarter, but not everyone pictures themselves in the gym at 6 a.m. You know, and that's what's required in order to succeed in the fourth quarter. You know, you got to put your time in. You got to bust your ass. You got to get after it when people aren't looking. You know, I mean, everyone wants to be the guy on Instagram posting whatever.
Russell Wilson.
And yeah, yeah. You know, doing high knees on the plane, but you know, at the same time, you have to put in that work, and people also have to realize you might put in that work and you still might fail, and that's a reality of life, and that's why I love sports. Not to go deep with it, but I mean that it teaches you life lessons. That's why we coach. That's why we play. But you know, sometimes you are going to work your tail off, and you're still gonna fail. and that is a possibility. But that is what makes, as you said, the win so sweet. That's why we celebrate, because it isn't easy. I mean, back in the day, you'd always look forward to the big games rather than just the ones you knew you were going to roll. And it's like, well, why? Because it's a challenge. You want to overcome a challenge. Just beating a junky team that has no wins on the season really isn't that fun. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. We're going to take a win when we can, but it's like, I'd rather beat a big time team that's also got a good record, a rivalry, or whatever, any day over just, hey, we're going to go drive 30 miles and crush a team by 40 and go home.
Yeah, iron sharpens iron. Competition breeds success, and in the end, those in a sense cupcake teams you expect, and those are probably, I know from my experience, is those are the games I probably get the most upset and the most nervous about, because the
Yep.
kids, they see the record, they see it like, oh, we can just show up and teams are going to lie down, which isn't the case. These guys practice hard, they're putting in the work. They might just not be as talented as a team, but they're going to come out, they're going to give you your best shot, and if you don't come ready, you can get beaten. Especially in high school sports where, we talked about is it's a tough age, and you don't know what they're battling in their personal lives or what's going on there. If you don't come ready to play, you can get beat and your season's over.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I mean, that pretty much sums up. You kind of asked at the beginning of this thing why I teach and coach, and I think that's exactly it right there. Trying to teach them through these challenges and get them through, and it is fun when they have success and they see that success, and you're able to celebrate with them, and when those losses, those failures happen, you're just as sad or depressed or more so than they are. But that's what life's all about.
Yeah, and the other part of it too is you lose those tough games where you have, I'm sure you guys have had it too, where you've had great weeks of practice, you come out in the game and everything just goes awry, falls apart. And I think that's really, it really reveals character and your work ethic, and what type of person you are, is when you have those shortcomings after you've worked so hard. Are you going to say, oh, this isn't worth it, this isn't worth my time, I'm done? Or are you going to get back in the lab and go back and work and use that failure as motivation to get you over that next hump?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's all you can do. I mean, that's what sucks. I mean, I'm thinking of like last year's football season, and those seniors. They had a really good career. I want to say it was three straight, at least shares of the region title. And we were expecting big things. We were undefeated last year, and then we roll into playoffs, playing a team in West Hope that we already had beaten, and it was a tough game. I mean, and I think the kids understood that. I know as coaches, we were like, man, this is a tough draw. I hate that we have to play them. And they come back in and they kind of smacked us. I mean, we just could not stop them, and it just sucks for like I said, I think if I remember right, it was 10 seniors last year that we graduated, and they're just done. They're done. They're never gonna. Most of them won't play football again. Maybe one or two gets lucky enough to play in college, but otherwise they're just done, and they have to live with that. They have to figure out, um, you know, how do we deal with that? And like you said, that is tough for a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid. I mean, it's tough as coaches. I mean, in our coaches meeting after that game, we just kind of sat in silence. We kind of all looked at each other and we're like, what just happened? I mean, we each one of us kind of blamed ourselves, and it was nobody's fault. I mean, nobody's individually is just they were the better team that night. They came out with a great game plan and whatnot, and you move on. You figure out, okay, if we were to play them again, I think we texted for about a month after in our group chat of the coaches of different things we could have done differently in that game for an entire month. But So what these kids are going through, I can't even imagine what's going through their heads. I'm sure there's some that eats them up to this day, and then there's some that forgot about it by 10 p.m. that night.
Yeah, and in the grand scheme of it, it's if the worst thing in your life is losing a high school game, that must mean your life is pretty damn good because I know and now that you've been coaching and teaching for 8 years, so you've had kids that have graduated and now are entering into adulthood. I'm going into my 6th year coaching, and so now I'm slowly starting to see kids that I've been coaching that have graduated and also too, which for me it's very cool to see them and see what they're doing, seeing what they're doing with their life and talking about the new job they have or they just got an internship and their excitement. Because in the end, you like I not to go full Ted Lasso here, but and I don't know if you've seen the show, but it's a tremendous show, and he talks about is that his main goal is not about wins and losses. His goal is about each player, each person becoming the best version of themselves, and that's the ultimate goal of coaching. And I think if your only goal is to just win games, I don't think you should be coaching.
Oh, exactly. I mean that I've said that many times. I mean, when people kind of ask me what I teach, and it's like, yeah, I might teach math, but ultimately, I'm teaching humans. I tell my kids every year, even though they're fifth and sixth graders, I'm like, hey, my goal is for you to become a positive person in society when you're older. Become a good human. And you're gonna do that all in your own ways. But you're exactly right. I mean, now some of these kids that I've coached, they're at the bar having a drink with you, and it's interesting to hear like what they remember, because there's some kids that remember the big games, obviously. Some kids remember, they always bring up the long 2 days or whatever, but then some kids will just remember something random from one game or something that you said that I have no clue. I never even remember making this joke or saying this or whatever, reacting this way. And so that's the fun thing. I mean, like you said, obviously the hearing how they're doing, hearing success stories is really great, but it is fun to see what piece were you to their puzzle, in life, of what do they remember from their playing days or their days in the classroom.
Yeah, and then it makes you feel old too. Now like whether I'm golfing against them in golf league or playing softball against them, and they're a lot more athletic and better than me, and now they get to see that I wasn't a good athlete, even if I may or may
Oh
not
yeah.
have told them, and I don't think I ever did. But um, but it is fun. So with that though, you know, in the end, you do want to win. There, you have to have that bit of a competitive side to you. Do you have a game in all of the in everything that you've coached? Do you have a memorable game that really sticks out to you?
Oh man, there's so many. I mean, on both sides of things. I remember I guess on the negative side in basketball, when I was coaching, we were trying to get out of districts for the first time in, I think it was like 5 or 6 years at this point, and we're playing in the regional playing game. Loser goes home, winner advances to regionals, and we're just leaving to go to the game at districts, and the principal pulls me aside and says this kid got caught with a vape, got caught with smoking whatever, and so I had to.
21st century problems.
Yeah, yeah. And so had to like literally rip him off the bus, and he's a starter, and yada yada yada. And I remember talking to the team about adversity, and man, they fought their tails off, and they did their best, but we were just outmatched. And it was just frustrating because I didn't chew out the kid because I could already see that he was so disappointed. I mean, he knew he disappointed the team, disappointed me, disappointed his parents, and whatever. and we go in there, and we talked about it as kids, and it's hard when those kids, they played with this guy all year, and knew we had a real shot, and kind of knew the Vegas odds were against us. Uh, after that happened, a late money was coming in on the other team. But and they fought valiantly, and we lost, and that stuck with me, because it's like you play that what if game. What if we would have had him? What if this, or what if that? Because they played their tails off. But and then on the other side, on the victory side, that I can recall is the basically the last game for football we've ever played against Ray Powers Lake. Big rivalry. We have huge rivalry between Divide and Ray. And then that obviously got amped up when they co-opt with Powers Lake. Didn't sit well with us, because it's like they're just as big as us, as a school population wise, as well as to get to Powers Lake, you have to go through Tioga. And so we're kind of, I don't know, we were kind of rubbed wrong by that, and they had success very early, and they had some good athletes, and they did things right. But we came in, and I can't remember if it was the very last game of the season or if it was just our last regional game, but it was basically for the region title, and they were undefeated in region. We were undefeated in region. I think this was three years ago now. Two. How long have they been 11 man? 2 years?
I know last year
One
for
year?
sure. I don't know if they were last year. Was it the
Well, they were
COVID year?
last year, so it
Oh
must have been
yeah.
just 2 years ago, I think. But anyway, we played against them, and man, that game, I still say, was probably the best high school game I've ever been a part of or seen personally, because it was just back and forth. We run the triple option, and we had just so many 5, 6, 7, 8 minute drives, and just getting 3, 4 yards of crack, and they're calling out. They knew exactly what we were doing. They knew we were going to run the ball. We were sure as hell we're not throwing it, and they were calling it out, and they couldn't stop us. And then vice versa. We knew they spread it out. They're going to sling the rock. Ingot was gonna run the ball and run all over Heck, and we couldn't stop them either. And so it was just back and forth. And I remember, uh, I want to say it was 50. So we won 53-52. Spoiler alert, but
Whew.
uh, or 54-52, something like that. But we were down by 4, if I remember right, and we got the ball with 8 minutes left, and I looked over at Nelly and Brownie, and I said, "We are not giving this damn ball back." And I kind of, I meant it, but at the same time, there's only so much you can do. If a kid breaks away, you want him to score, and we did. We just marched it down, and we had a first and goal at the 3 yard line, with a minute and a half remaining, and I think they had one timeout. And I just remember they kept calling, or they called timeout a couple times. We ran it down, and then we called timeout, to get adjusted, and it was just funny because it's Nelly. Have you met Bob Brown?
I maybe. If I
Maybe,
saw
but
his face, I probably may have met him.
anyway, Brown.
Was he at your wedding?
Yeah, for a short time,
Okay.
uh, but anyway, like those two are the head coaches, and then I help out quite a bit with the offense. And it was just funny because all three of us had different takes on it. Nelson wanted to take a knee like over and over, and then just score with like 0 seconds left. And I'm like, that's not guaranteed. We're at the 3 yard line. They got some dudes too. And then Brown, he wanted to score immediately. Just, hey, whatever happens, let's put it in. And I'm just saying, like, hey, let's sneak it, and if we get it, like I was kind of in the middle of like, hey, let's get a yard or two, and if we don't get it, great. If we do get it, great. And it worked out. We scored with 4 seconds left and it was actually fourth down. We let it go to fourth down, and we had just quarterback sneaked 3 straight times, and so they were just plugging the middle. And me and well, Derek Nordstag, uh,
Yep.
groomsman in my wedding. he was there, and me and him were like, man, that outside is open. We can pitch it, but that also means a little more risk. And sure enough, we pitched it to the outside and scored it. I mean, no one was within 10 yards of them because they just thought we were going to go up the middle. But then what's funny is there's 4 seconds left, and they had the dudes to score. They had the Ingot kid. I want to say it was like Jace Nelson, I think was his name. Really fast kid for him, and we're just like 4 seconds is more than enough time for that to score. And they luckily we were able to get them down on the Hail Mary attempt, but that sticks out because it was a rivalry game for one. The kids knew it was kind of the last time we'd get to play them in football, and then obviously region title game. Basically, I can't remember if it was actually the last game of the season or not, but basically that game was for region. And so when we came out on top, boy, that was a celebration because it's like it was on their home field. We went into their house and took care of business, and it was against a team that was worthy. It was against another really good team, and that's what makes it fun. Is those close games. Even though it probably took 5 years off my life, definitely 5 years off my hairline.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it fun. And then those kids talk about that game. I was just talking to a few of them a week or two ago about that game, and yeah, you just remember those types of moments that stand out.
Yeah, and there really is no better feeling in football where you're running the ball so effectively. Everybody knows that you're running the ball, and they cannot do a thing to stop it.
Yep. Well, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, it was just kind of hilarious because it was both sides, but in completely different ways. They were on the outside, and we couldn't stop them, and we were just straight ahead. Like, hey, here's where we are. No deception. No extra speed. We're just going to run through you, and it's a fun brand of football, at least in my eyes. I'm sure not too many other people agree with me, but remember the Titans, and obviously elsewhere, but it works like Novocaine. Just give it time, baby.
Yeah, that's right. That's my favorite way. I being a Cowboys fan, I can't stand the Eagles, but I love watching them play football because it's the style of football that I like. It's tough, hard nosed. We don't care that we want to run the ball. We're going to do it anyways.
Yeah. Well, and that's the only way I know. I mean, that's the only way we
Yeah.
do it up here. I mean, I think we average maybe 6 or 7 passes a game, and that's probably too many in some of our eyes. But you do still have to keep them honest. But it's so fun to just line up and say, hey, we're gonna put our power on your power and try to stop us.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it helps out the defense. It's you keep that defense off the field. Probably doesn't matter as much
Nope.
in nine man or 11-man football in North Dakota because pretty much everybody is playing both ways. But as if kids progress through college, that's the way to go. It's called complementary football. The less time your defense is out on the field, the better, is my opinion.
Well, I mean, even in 9 and 11 man football up here, I mean, where kids are playing both ways, it's still a lot more fun going forward than backwards. When you're imposing your will compared to reacting to what the offense is doing, it's definitely a lot easier, a lot more fun.
Yeah. Do you now that you mentioned you coach basketball? Is there a which and I've had a few basketball coaches on here, and so you used to be the head coach there. So you had some time in between, whether it be freshman, JV, varsity. You had some waiting time. Which place that you've gone to that you've coached at on the road has the best concession stand?
Ooh, that's a good one. I always like to get a power ranking. Unfortunately, I was not consistent on the scale of 1 to 5. We did not track our progress. I definitely would say Crosby has the best hospitality room for come tournament time. Our hospitality room just provides a little bit of everything. But concession stand, boy. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't like giving Powers Lake much love, but I feel like they got some good popcorn usually, as well as their atmosphere in that little gym. I don't know if you've ever been up there or seen it,
I have not.
but it's just a little gym, and I don't know. There's not much else to do in Powers Lake, so everyone's there, and they're loud. Their main cheer, they get this clap. It's like a slow clap, and they just I don't know what it is. It's so simple, but it just gets in your head, and it's so loud. But that's a good atmosphere and popcorn concession stand. I don't like to eat too much before the game because otherwise I'll get a little bloated, and I need all the help I can get with room for the belt. But
Are you a superstitious person before coaching?
I'm
Do
just
you
a
have
little
any
stitious,
rituals you do?
just a little stitious like Michael Scott.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. I mean, I definitely have some. I'm not as superstitious as Nelly, but I definitely like anytime I walk by, like a door frame or like a table, I always knock on it. That's definitely a superstition, I guess. Um, I'm a big pacer. I don't know if that's a superstition, but whether that be basketball or football, I'm always just like pacing back and forth before the game. Like football, I'm always like playing with the grass. Like I was kicking stuff around. I'm trying to think of any other superstitious. I know my wife would agree. She just walked in. Hopefully she wasn't too loud, but she would agree. I'm kind of a jerk before games. Unfortunately, I don't try to be, but I think she's finally getting used to me being a little crabby beforehand. But I think that's kind of normal. But I don't know. I feel like there's more, but I definitely have to choose my game day shoes. Um, which football I can't get too creative because they'll get dirty. Basketball is a little bit more flamboyant with my shoe selection, but football I kind of got to keep it traditional.
Well, that's a good transition, Loper, because I was gonna ask. I was one of my questions that I had in my head. I didn't really write anything down because we've been friends long enough, so I figure whatever comes up in the conversation is gonna be good. But that was one thing I had ingrained in my brain that I'm gonna ask. How did your obsession with sneakers start?
Oh man, I don't know. So so obviously not everyone knows me, but I currently own about 115 pairs of shoes, which is about 114 too many probably. But I don't know. So like my folks have really tried to figure this one out. Because they don't care. In fact, for Christmas, it's like a running tradition that I just give my dad a pair of old shoes that I've already used. 'Cause we're about the same size, but I don't know. It started, I guess, when I was pretty young. Like my folks would always buy me like basketball shoes or like football cleats or baseball cleats or whatever. Um, and I remember like I would say about fourth or fifth grade was when like and one. Do you remember and one?
Oh yeah,
Started
oh
like
yeah.
coming out with like really flashy colors and like that was when it I don't know. I could be wrong, but it just seemed like everything was a little bit more flashy and colorful. And I just remember as a kid, I'm like, man, I want those shoes. And my parents said, well, those are out of our budget. Like we're only giving you, Walmart specials. Was about what I got, and they said if you want to buy them, we're not going to stop you, but you have to buy them yourself. And I said, all right, sounds good. And I'd save up money from mowing the lawn or doing whatever, and me and my dad would go to Shields and I'd pick them out, and they sure as heck wouldn't match anything. At least at the start, I just wanted the flashiest shoes. And then it became a problem when I was in college. I feel like I'm name dropping a lot of people that nobody will know. But
That's all right.
my best man, Will, you met him.
Yep.
Uh, he's a big shoe guy, and so we obviously hit it off and just as good friends in general. But he was a big shoe guy, and we would always just anytime we'd be out of town, we'd go to Rapid City or whatever, and we'd just buy shoes. And so that really got it started, and it wasn't a bad thing until I got adult money. Once I started getting adult money, and and like I don't know, I had nothing else to really spend my money on. I was single at the time, so I just started just slinging money on shoes.
Now,
Um,
were these just Jordans, or do you branch out and go to Adidas or Under
Man,
Armour
I'm an equal
or
opportunity employer when it comes to that.
okay?
I'd say Nike's probably my favorite, but I definitely have some Jordans. Nike I really like. In fact, probably my favorite shoe is Adidas Boost. If you've ever worn those, they're expensive as heck, but man, they're super comfy. They last forever. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. Anything that looks cool, I buy, and it's not a good habit. Especially now that I've married, my shoe game has dropped considerably.
Okay, so if you had to now, do you have any on your radar that you currently don't have that you want? If you had one shoe that you really want to get that you don't have yet, what
Oh
would be
man,
that
that's
shoe?
tough. I love Jordan 11s. Probably any.
Okay,
I do have a couple pairs of like the Carolina Jordan 11s. I'm a Carolina guy. Love Carolina blue.
that's
So I
why
got
I got the Carolina blue shirt on.
there you go. It looks white almost on my screen, but
Oh, does it?
uh,
Oh, yeah. No, it is Carolina blue.
that a boy.
You uh you
But
you also wore the Jordan 11s for your wedding. We'll
yep,
throw that
yep.
in there.
Well, I was not allowed to wear them during the actual wedding, but she said once it was official, I was allowed to change. So I changed about as fast as I could into those for comfort as well as I don't know. They probably look really stupid, but I didn't care. That
Yeah.
I told her I wanted to pick my shoes was the only choice I wanted, and I didn't even get that choice. Other than we had to compromise. So, but it probably that was for the best.
Yeah. Well, you did get to wear you did have a Carolina themed suit, so
Yeah, she
it
let
does
me.
help.
Yeah, she did let me have some say on colors, and luckily she agreed that navy and Carolina were a good color scheme, so we got to go with that. Um, but yeah, that's as far as wedding planning. That's about all I really had any say.
You're probably okay with that.
Oh yeah,
I don't know,
oh
have
yeah,
you ever seen the Mike Leach wedding advice?
yep, yep. Anything
But
Mike Leach says was gold. So R.I.P.
it was.
He's a
Yeah.
goat.
Do you have any Jordan 1s?
I did. Oddly enough, my and maybe this is where it started. My folks found I don't even know where my mom got some randomly at like I don't know if it was a thrift store or like a uh I don't know like a discount store or whatever,
Yep.
but they randomly found they were actually Air Jordan 1 lows. And that was
Okay.
like before I
What
really knew
colors?
anything. And so I wore the heck out of them. But they were like the original like black and red. Um,
Ah,
ooh, there you
that's
go.
I got the
Uh,
the NDSU ones.
Well, I was gonna say that kind of looked like Green Bay colors, and that doesn't
No,
fly.
no, those are those
NDSU is
those are
okay.
NDSU colors. Yeah.
I do like NDSU. I do not like the colors. That's the one thing I cannot stand about that program. That's about the only thing.
Well, the problem is that Green Bay stole NDSU's colors. It wasn't the other way around. You look, NDSU was started long before the Packers were, about 30 years. So if anybody stole anything, it was Green Bay from NDSU. Just another
Whatever it
reason to not
is.
like
Yep.
the Packers.
Yeah, I don't know. I just hate the Packers. Growing up, like my favorite colors were always just purple and yellow because I'm a Vikings fan. So ultimately, that
I do have a pair of Jordan 1s on the Nike website the last I looked of the Air Force 1s.
do I?
No, they on the Nike website they have a
Oh,
pair of the of purple and gold. They also have some Divide County maroon
ooh, need
Jordan
that.
1s too.
You need that.
I've been sending them to you, telling you you need to get those for the game days.
See, here's the problem: is just buying a house and having a marriage in itself is just really expensive. I've found out. So my shoe buying habits have diminished, but I'll have to look into those. I definitely have quite a few maroon and gray styled shoes, but I also don't want to wreck them because football tends to be unknown weather, especially come later in the season.
I suppose in most of your games you play on our grass, where for us
Yeah, we're not
it is
fancy
mostly
like you
turf.
guys.
The issue I run into is that our jerseys are Adidas, so we got a pair of shoes from Adidas like my first year coaching at Trinity, and those are the one I that's the only time I ever wear them is when I'm coaching. But other than that, they just sit in my closet for 9 months out of the year.
Yeah, I don't know if they look sweet. I'll rock them, but I feel like you guys have a lot more to choose from being red and white, like a cardinal red or whatever, royal red.
Um, we kind of do. The bad part is that they're a little bit Ohio Statey colors. When we have game days, I'll wear a red top with black pants. The tiger red game Sunday look.
Yep.
But for the most part, we it's not terrible. It's usually red and white. Occasionally I'll throw in some gray pants. Just similar to you. It kind of throws off the weather. If we ever switch to Nike, I'm definitely gonna buy a pair of the original Jordan ones, like the red with the white and the black at some point whenever that happens. But they're if I had a bucket list, and I don't know, maybe because I've known you for so long, I've turned into somewhat of a sneakerhead because I got those. I like wearing them. If I had a list, like I'd want to get the original. I want to get a Michigan themed Jordan ones. And then just because I think the look is just so sweet and slick, is the Carolina blue Jordan ones.
Oh man, Carolina blue is the best color known to man. I feel confident in that answer. I know a lot of people disagree, but it's so sharp. It looks good on anything.
Yeah, it absolutely does. So we've got that. Now we're gonna flip it to you because you said you want to interview me.
Ooh,
So I
ooh.
guess the floor is yours. Now
I was hoping. All
getting
right,
the hard hitting questions.
so I don't know what kind of time restraints we have. I came up with about.
We have no time restraints. This is just hit record and we go as long as we go.
All right. Well, am I able to grab another beverage before I begin this? Because
Yeah,
I took a few notes. I just got to run to the garage fridge. I think, by the way, like I saw this the other day. You are not Midwest if you do not have a garage fridge. You need a garage fridge.
very true. And that garage fridge is probably it's usually an old throwback.
Oh yeah.
We were having this discussion at softball the other night about how it's the oldest fridge ever, and
Yep.
it
And the
still
coldest.
runs. It's and the coldest. Yep. And you're always going to find some good treasures in there. And it's I think it's something that it's fair game. If it's in the garage fridge, it is open to anybody, and you can't complain when somebody takes it.
Yep, I agree. In fact, so I've been kind of lucky between we found the garage fridge through like the Facebook whatever a couple years ago. Total of $10 for the garage fridge. It is like pea green, like not like urination, but like the vegetable pea green, and it is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. Like the handle is like wobbly as all get out, but it keeps everything so cold. It's perfect, perfect beer fridge, and then my freezer was like gifted to me. So we got a freezer and a garage fridge out there for a total of like $10.
Oh, not bad, not bad. Now
I
is that
feel like
coming
that's
with
as
you to the new
Midwest as you
house?
can get. What's that?
Is that coming with you to the new house?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The
Okay. First thing
problem
you move?
is the problem is going to be our new house has a detached garage, so that's going to be a little further on the trips. Um,
Well, what you do here is you just have you just have your hangout in the garage, and you just get, if you don't want to go out, on those cold winter nights, you just get like one of those like an air mattress or something, and you sleep in there.
I like where your head's at, but you do realize, I mean, it gets cold in Dickinson. It gets really flipping cold
Yeah.
in Crosby.
Is it
Uh,
insulated?
uh, partially, yeah. Like,
Partially.
it's not going to be warm. I'm going to say that, but
Oh, okay. Well, you just got to get that you just got to get the garage finished, and then it's perfect.
yup, yup. I need to look into that as well as building a golf simulator in there, but
There you go. Yep.
I think
That's
that's going to
that's
be
the
frowned
play right
upon.
there. Yeah. But
All right.
well, spin zone is when your wife is mad at you, you have a place to go to get away from her, and she has a place she can send you.
Well, that is true, but I already it's a much larger space in general, so I get to get away anyway. So it's a win-win.
Okay, there
But
there you go. So,
I'm gonna
alrighty.
step out for just a sec. I'll be right back.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
That was
So
fast.
no free shout outs, but Nectar of the Gods, Peach Edition.
Okay.
It's after 5, so it's the weekend.
It is.
Probably not after
I've yet
5
to
for
try the
you.
Bush Light Peach.
Say
No,
that
no,
again.
got about 19 minutes before after 5 hits. But I have not gotten to try the Bush Light Peach yet. I've heard good things though.
Pretty good. It's pretty good. I don't think you can I don't think it can be solo for the night. Like I think you're gonna need to have a rotation. It's gonna get a little sweet after a
Yeah,
while, but it's
don't do
definitely
sweet well with alcohol.
definitely in the rotation though. Definitely good for right after work, right after mowing the lawn. Uh, perfect for those actually. All right, so I got a list. I got to pull this up. I had to write down my thoughts because I. All right, so we're gonna start out easy.
Okay.
Um, so you're a big Pepsi guy, huge
Yep.
Pepsi guy. So I want to. This is fitting that I got the Bush Peach. So what is the best mixie? I call them mixies. Mixed drinks using a Pepsi product. Official endorsement
Ooh.
from Dylan Grass right
Okay.
here.
So now this could go a couple of different ways. So depending on what you're drinking, so like a whiskey press they're called. So whiskey, water with a splash of 7 Up, or what I've discovered, I discovered this last year is vodka lemonade and 7 Up mixed together all in one. That is a really good one.
That would be good. That would be good. I do
Yep.
love. It's pretty rare. It's pretty rare that I drink it, but I do love Pendleton with some 7 Up. That's a
Oh
that's a
yeah.
nice one. You
Yep.
can't like kind of like we said earlier. Got to have it in rotation. Cannot get too heavy on those. But I definitely think 7 Up is an underrated pop.
It is.
I
It
don't I don't know
is.
why Sprite has cornered that market. It's kind of like the C words, the Cokes. I don't know
Yeah.
why, like Jack and Coke. I don't know why that's gotten the reputation. There's nothing wrong with Jack and Pepsi, eh?
No, no, there's not. And if depending on places you go that only serve Pepsi and they ask for a Jack and Coke, you're getting a Jack and Pepsi.
Well, yeah, exactly. You gotta do what you gotta do, but
Which,
uh,
spoiler alert for anybody that goes down to Deadwood, anytime you ask for a Coke, it's Pepsi because that place is run through Pepsi.
that a boy. That's that marketing. You've been putting in that
Yep.
work.
Uh-huh. I had nothing to do with anything with Deadwood, but that's the actual truth of it.
Maybe it was after you recall. You know, we were down there for the bachelor party. Maybe you were
Yeah,
pretty late night doing some marketing for them.
that could have been. That was what it was for sure.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of mixed drinks and bad decisions, so what is you were up here for my wedding? What is the go-to move to bust out at a wedding? Whether it be a dance move, whether it be a you're sneaking seconds. What's the go-to move when you're at a wedding?
The go-to move when I'm at a wedding. Ooh, ooh. Sneaking away into the if there's an apple pie or a red eye room. That's a go-to move.
Oh,
And that's also one
sneaky.
that you can't do a lot of. You get a couple in and then you call it good cuz then that's also very sweet that really gets the tummy turning. So you got to learn to pace yourself and not go too hard with it cuz I've seen it go very downhill for a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah, I do feel like that is possible. Uh, so that leads me, and I'm gonna pick on you a little bit.
Oh boy.
So speaking of experience, at what time is too soon to unbutton the shirt and or put a tie on the head? From your experience, what is the cutoff line?
I would well, at least so it has to be if you're doing it before the grand march or the first dance.
That's bad
Um,
news.
yes, that's bad news, and you need to just go home. I would say once, because I know, because my shirt was definitely unbuttoned at your wedding.
Yep.
I don't remember having a tie on my head. It can't be
No,
ruled out.
no, but that is a go-to. That's a go-to move at a
Yes,
wedding. Like I feel like
it
I feel
is.
like the tie on the head is it's obnoxious, but at the same time it's necessary. Like you have to have that guy. Like I had to laugh. So if you remember Zach from my wedding, he just got married
Yep.
2 weeks ago, whatever it was. And some of his buddies from Montana, they're wild and they're fun. They're a good time. But so they did the speeches, and then they were into the right away, right into like father daughter dance, and it was like basically 5 minutes after the father daughter dance, there was a tie on the head, shirt unbuttoned, and it's obnoxious, but at the same time, it got the people going. It had the people going. The party got started early, and we just started rolling, and it was a great time. So it's one of those, hey, you got to be willing to risk it, but at the same time, that's what you need. Everyone needs a go getter.
Yeah, I think so. As you really have to judge the room and judge the type of people you're around now. Because if you go to a super high class wedding
Oh yeah,
where that is a 10:30, 11 o'clock where all the old people have gone to bed because they can't hang. Then that would be okay. But if it's like a normal, your regular people that don't think their shit don't stink type of wedding, I think basically any time after somewhere in between the single ladies, the bouquet toss, and the after the dance, the father daughter dance, the first dance between husband and wife, any time in between there, I think is okay.
yeah. I'm not really sure. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of experience. I know at my wedding, things just escalated very quickly, especially when the keg got found by more than just the. We kind of had it tucked away just for the bridal party, and then keg stands started to happen.
Yep, I
Uh,
remember.
my father in law took his shirt off to do a keg stand. That was
Yep.
pretty legit. In fact, maybe that was the inspiration for your buttons to come undone. But
Could have been. That it's just not. It's buttons and weddings are not a good mix for Dylan.
no, not at all. I will say, like I was a little nervous because like my family is very conservative, very religious, and that's great. I am too, to an extent. You are too. But at a
Yep.
certain point, like a wedding's a wedding. Like you're there to have fun. I love weddings.
Yeah.
Uh, the Sundays are never fun after.
No.
Um,
Especially if you have
but
to drive 3 hours.
yep. But I will say, like, the keg stands at our wedding was electric, especially when you get people to do it that aren't expected. Like my groomsmen expected, you expected, people of our age expected. But when you start getting the dads involved, the older people involved doing the keg stands, that really got the party going.
Yes. Yes, it did.
I feel like
And you
keg
better
stands.
never get married again, because I don't think I can handle it.
I think cake stands are a great move at a wedding, but you cannot be the first person. Like you got to organically get somebody to bring it up.
Yep.
It
Yep.
nobody wants to say, well, it was so and so that really, you know, forced us to do a cake stand. It's just got to happen.
Who was the first one to do it at your wedding?
Dude, I don't even know. Like I can't remember, but pretty soon it just started happening. And then once it goes, you just got to roll with it. You know, when you got bridesmaids doing it, and everyone's like taking care of the dress on top of it plus the cake stand, like that's just badass. That's
Yeah.
legit.
Exactly.
All right, so let me pull this back up. I switching gears. So I just had to give you a little crap because that was I my parents still bring up the wedding day every now and then. They're like, so how's Dillon doing? Last time we saw him, his shirt was unbuttoned, and he was feeling good. But so switching gears, you probably are thankful for that, but it'll only last for a little while. So this is an easy one.
Well, so here, I'll stop you here because for most weddings I go to, at the end of the night, most wedding, I don't know if because I don't think it happened at your wedding, but most weddings that I go to with my friends we end the night with Piano Man, and I don't know if you're aware of this tradition.
See, you
But
you were trying to get us to do that, and
was
you were talking about taking pants off, and none of us have heard it. And I'm not gonna lie, it didn't go well. That comment
Yeah.
did not go well.
No, well, so at least I kept my pants on then, because then
Yeah,
if I'm
yeah,
the only one doing it, it's weird. But that's
yeah.
how
That's
like
what's
every
up,
wedding
brother.
that I've been to with my friends are. It is the wedding. It's the final song. You hear the piano starting. The pants are off. Everybody's locking arms. It's a true bonding brotherhood moment, and
Yeah,
and you
I
belt out Piano Man with all your heart.
I I get that. I don't know. I feel like I'm trusting the majority of people over just you on that one, but I'm not
Well, you're just
opposed.
in the wrong. You're in the wrong group.
I'm
Because
a
if you go
follower.
to my group, the majority is to
There you
take his
go.
pants off. So
Well, that's
so
fine.
turn the
If I'm
questions
a
around with you. If you are at a wedding and you've had a few, you're feeling good, you're feeling happy, and the song comes on and you see everybody else doing it, are you going to join in?
Oh yeah, I'm a follower.
Okay,
Like
alrighty.
I feel like I'm a leader and a follower. Like it stuff like that. I do not want to be the first one, but if it looks fun, I'll join it. But I'm definitely not the one. I'm not gonna. There again, I'm not meaning to pick on you, but I might be. I'm not gonna be the one saying, "Hey, let's take our pants off and sing Piano Man." I'm not gonna
Well,
be the
it's
first
not.
one.
We're not fully taking them off. It's just going down to the ankles.
Just enough for the goods, right?
Yeah.
All right. Needless to say, you went home alone that night.
That's right.
All right. I'll be done giving you grief at least for a little bit. All right. So, switching to sports here. What would be a better experience for you? A Michigan national championship in football or Cowboys Super Bowl?
Michigan football for sure.
I
I've
agree.
I've I've been way more. I'm more of a college fan. I've been way more. Way more invested into it. The Cowboys. they haven't done anything since I was 1 years old to give me hope or anything that that they can get over the hump. Where Michigan the last few years they've given me hope. Last year I fully expected it, and this year I am fully expecting them to win a national title and fully ready to be hurt again.
Well, and that's sometimes the worst. I mean, coming from a Vikings fan, every year we're like decent. We're never like awful, but we're never great. Like it's just continued mediocrity, and it's so frustrating. But I kind of figured that would be the answer, but I didn't know for sure. So that leads me here. Here's my next one. Which hurt more? So get ready to relive some bad days.
All
I'm
right,
so hey, I've been rooting for Harbaugh. I love these last two wins over Ohio State.
me too.
But which hurt more? Like the eighth straight loss to Ohio State, or when big slash little brother won on the fumbled punt at the last second?
Ooh, so
What
the
year was that, by
eighth
the way? Was it 15 or
that was
16?
that was 2015.
I knew
So
it had to be somewhere around there.
the eighth straight year, that one didn't hurt as bad because Michigan was clearly the inferior team. Ohio State, they probably should have been playing for a national title that year. They were a completely on a whole different level.
All right. Well, time out. My point is like the accumulation of you guys
Yes,
not winning. You guys just keep getting kicked.
and it got to a point where, and going into the year, Michigan was there was nothing that suggested they were going to do anything to pull an upset. So like I I would have loved to it, but I kind of accepted the fate of that. It just was not going to happen, which then led to now where they've won two straight, and times are good again. But so that 2015 game, there was a stretch. It was so I didn't get to watch a lot of that game because NDSU was playing, and I worked. I was the officials host, so I was actually working the game. The game was played at the same time, and it turns out that day the white hat for NDSU was playing South Dakota, and it was Carson Wentz. It was the game Carson Wentz got hurt, and the white hat for that game, he was a Michigan alum, so we were kind of talking about it before the game. I was like, I really think Michigan's going to win this game, and after the NDSU loses on that game-winning field goal, so sucks about that. And then I'm kind of sitting around. I'm waiting for the officials after the games. They'd have meetings and go over missed calls, things like that. And I was walking to go get the pagers, and he has it up on his projector. He's watching the game, and he's like, "Yeah, you're a Michigan fan. You can come watch the end of this." And I only got to see the one play of this game.
Are you
And
talking the Michigan State game?
yes, the 2015 with the muff punt and the trouble with the snap game, and we're excited. We're like high fiving, like, yes, we're finally back in their spot. And then all of a sudden, you just, oh, there's trouble with the snap. And then we sat there.
A great radio call or TV call. Great announcing.
It was, and Sean McDonough got to do it to little brother this year, and we just sat there like, there's no way this happened. That wasn't real, right? And it was just silence. Like, are you kidding me? Like in a span of 5 minutes, it was of my sports fandom career. That had to be one of like the top 5 lowest moments.
So I really dug deep on this one. Apparently, is what I'm hearing. I was actually that was my last year in college, I think, and me and my roommate at the time, we had bet, and it wasn't enough money, but it was, I don't know, it was like $5-10, or maybe it was for a pizza or whatever, and I had Michigan State and he had Michigan, and Michigan controlled the whole game from what I remember.
Yeah.
Like they were, it's close, but like they were in control, and I just remember like they needed that last stop, and they got it, and I'm like, all right, well, they're gonna have to return the punt or at least get a good return to set up a Hail Mary. And then there's trouble on the snap. And then he just gave it. He gave it to Michigan State,
Yep.
and they just like waltz into the end zone. And then they just show that poor nerdy Michigan fan, just the surrender cobra, just and it was perfect. Like, I mean, as far as just like nobody knew what happened. It just was stunning. Like, I remember my roommate was so mad because I just started running around the room, like, because I was just like I had no shot, and then all of a sudden I won.
Yeah.
But
It
and, and,
was
li- and little did I know, I would then, because I didn't really care. Like, I'm pretty much indifferent on Michigan or Michigan State, but I do love Tom Izzo on the basketball side. And then
I
as
respect him.
I think my cousin played for
Yep.
Michigan State these last couple of years, and so I've kind of become a Sparty fan since. But unfortunately, they didn't have anything like that happen this last year. But
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember sitting in my apartment just staring up at
weeping,
up at my room. I wasn't weeping. I just sat there in silence, like, did this seriously just happen? Like that, there's no way that happened.
dude, it was out of
It was
nowhere.
real. Yeah,
That game's up
it's
there with
exactly
the
what
Big
it was.
Six.
And before that, he punted from the one end zone to the other end zone. Like, he was a tremendous punter, and you feel bad for the kid because it was just such a
Bad
fluke.
luck,
Like,
really.
yeah, exactly.
Well, and it went from bad to worse. Like, I mean, obviously he just wanted to get it off, but he should have just taken the sack and
Yeah,
live for another day. But he literally basically just handed him the ball. Like,
yeah.
that one was wild. I was just watching like craziest endings to college sports or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And I had to get that one because right before it wasn't just football as far as the video I was watching. And right before that clip came on was the Carolina Villanova national title game.
Oh, yeah.
And that was like, I think that wasn't that the same year? Or maybe within
Yeah,
a year?
yeah, it was. Yeah, it was, because it was the 15-16 season. Yeah.
And
Yep. You're
and
right.
that dude, when uh, Marcus Page, right? Wasn't that who hit
Yep.
the shot
Yep.
for Carolina? And I was at an all-time high. I'm like, okay, we're going to overtime. Now we go. And then Villanova comes down and hits that shot. And I died. My soul left me. My soul left
Yeah.
me. So when I was watching that video, and those clips were back to back, I had to get some sort of revenge on you, because I was worked up. It was like PTSD almost.
Yeah, that's
Not
right.
quite, but all right. So I got a few more.
All
These
right.
are I send you these all the time. Us Crosby guys, we're kind of idiots, but
Yeah. Well, hey,
we're
same. That's why
we're
I think I fit so well with you guys.
we're always talking hypotheticals, and we're a lot of us are big fans of Barstool, and so between this is kind of a combination of Tier Talk and Mount Rushmore here. So give me your top three, because we can't replicate, but give me a top three of let's see, what do I got here first? So number one, so I'll rank my top three of any greatest Tar Heels ever,
Okay.
and I want your top three of any Michigan Wolverine, any sport, doesn't matter,
Okay.
doesn't
Now,
matter
are
the
we
sport,
going or is it of all time, or ones that we've actually seen play?
either really.
Okay.
Just a favorite. I don't know. Like, I tend to. I mean, like, Michael Jordan's gonna be on mine.
Yeah.
Like, that's obvious. Like, you can't have a list and not have Jordan. I mean, so I'll just give you mine while
All
you
right.
think. So I literally, like, as a kid, was a Carolina fan because of Michael Jordan. Like, I grew up as he was just like exploding in the '90s. and just was obsessed with Michael Jordan. I found out he went to college at Carolina. And like my mom was actually just telling me the story the other day that like when I was like 5, I was like watching the Bulls, and they had some special on like Jordan, how he got cut in high school,
Yep.
like had a tremendous year, won the national championship at Carolina, and got the scholarship or whatever. And I guess when I was like 5 or 6, I told my mom I want a scholarship to North Carolina. I couldn't say my R's or L's, and so I wanted a scholarship to Carolina. Needless to say, I did not earn that. It's almost like a 5'11" white guy that is not a point guard is like a great fit for their system. But so Jordan's on there. He single handedly got me to like Carolina. I'm gonna go number 2, Julius Peppers. Only
Okay.
only one to do the Final Four and Super Bowl, right? Isn't that the stat?
Yep. Yep. I think
Um,
something like that.
I just freak athlete. He's up there. Didn't really get to follow him when he was at Carolina, but obviously like looking back, and then my all time favorite Tar Heel. Uh, I want you to guess. I feel like this is
Okay.
quintessential me, a guy that maybe isn't the most athletic, but just all time.
Tyler Hansbrough.
Tyler Hansbrough, number one. He went. If I remember right, I think he was undefeated against Duke. Uh,
Yeah, he was
or maybe that
undefeated
was
in
undefeated at
Cameron. He
home.
was undefeated in Cameron.
Yeah,
That's what it
Cameron.
was.
Yeah, I
Yep.
can't remember the stat, but I
Ruined JJ
recall.
Redick's senior night.
Yep, I just remember he got the bloody nose on the
Yep.
dunk, and then he just was like a madman. Uh, his celebrations, he was so white, dude. He was so uncoordinated, just like running down the sidelines like a maniac. I think that was after the Clemson game in the ACC tournament. Hit like a game winner and just went nuts. Uh, Ultimate competitor. So there's my top 3. For some, for like I said, Jordan. You can't have a list without Jordan if he went
Yep.
to your school. And then obviously Hansbrough. Just I resonate with a unathletic dude that just played pissed off.
Yeah. So all good choices. So for me, now, and this is going way back. This was before either of you were even a thought. Our parents were even born. Go back to Tom Harmon. He was I believe it was the 1940 Heisman Trophy winner.
Okay.
The only player that got a standing ovation in at Ohio Stadium for his dominating performance. He yes, he won the Heisman Trophy in 1940. Only player that got a standing ovation on Ohio Stadium for his performance. I think he had like 5 or 6 touchdowns, like 3 interceptions, just dominated the game. Anybody who gets a standing ovation as a visitor, you have to be on a top 3 Michigan Wolverine list. Number 2, it would have to be, man, it's hard to go down just to 3 people, but I would have to throw Tom Brady in there. I'm a huge Tom Brady stan. Maybe if I move, you can kind of see.
There you go.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
guess I have a question for you. I'm not a huge Michigan guy. Like I take him or leave him. But like, what did Brady really do much at Michigan?
He
Correct me if
wasn't.
I'm
He
wrong.
started for a year and a half. He won the Orange Bowl, beat Ohio State his senior year. He was in a QB competition. It was more so because there was the guy behind him was his name was Drew Henson. He was
Yep.
dual sport athlete. He was playing. He was in the Yankees farm system for baseball. Kind of the local guy from Michigan, the one everybody wanted, but could never seem to overtake. And then ended up the next year starting for Michigan. It was until this year was the last team to win in Ohio at Ohio State. Had a good career at Michigan, but just his similar to you with Jordan is I've always been a huge Tom Brady guy.
You got to have him
And
on
it
the
was
list.
just so it worked out that he also went to Michigan, which was very cool. And then number 3, man, like this is just way too tough because there's so many. I think you almost have to go Charles Woodson because
He's
the
a
only
goat.
defensive player in history to win a Heisman. Had a Hall of Fame career for the Raiders, won Michigan's last national title. So I think he has to also be on the list. Some honorable mentions would be Desmond Howard.
Yep.
I think I could throw Aiden Hutchinson on this list now because without him, he was he was a lead by example. He basically said going into the 21 season, he told the strength coach to destroy him and break him down, and he had guys in the weight room. It was his work ethic and holding guys accountable is what led to helping Michigan finally get over that Ohio State hump, getting to Indianapolis, winning a Big Ten title, playing in the college football playoff. On other ones was Braylon Edwards, had an incredible career for Michigan. Probably, if I had to choose a favorite player that I grew up watching, it would probably be him. Chris Perry, Mike Hart, Chad Henne, all those guys were some of my favorite players. Taylor Lewan, yeah.
Shout out, no free shout out.
Yep. So
you want to know my favorite Michigan player?
Yeah.
Take a guess.
Ooh, is he still playing in the NFL or is it a basketball?
You're asking too many questions.
Okay.
Just knowing
Tim Hardaway
me,
Jr.
No, here's my favorite. Chris Webber. The timeout
Chris Webber. Okay.
Against Carolina.
Oh, I walked right into that one.
Yep. I set you up.
You weren't even alive yet. Doesn't count.
It's still awesome. I don't know.
Technically, it actually didn't happen because there's no proof that the Fab Five actually played at Michigan. So technically, he can't be your favorite.
Well, 30 for 30 says otherwise.
I like that spin zone I just did in my head there.
Yeah,
I like that.
All right. Moving on. Another top 3. So I'm all across the map on these. I got 3 more. So best sitcom characters. I think we talked about this one.
We did.
Top 3 sitcom characters. I'm going right off top of the dome. We got Kramer from Seinfeld. Yep. He's an automatic. He's at large bid, easy. Dwight, automatic. Dwight from The Office.
That's not a sitcom though.
Yes, it is. The Office is
no. It doesn't have a laugh reel. That's what I consider my sitcoms.
All right, if you're going that way, I got to do the dad.
But yes, I would say that he has to be on that list if we were going just straight TV shows. But when I'm thinking sitcoms, I'm thinking of shows with a laugh reel.
All right, so if you're going that way, so obviously Kramer, and then I'm gonna go the dad on Everyone Loves Raymond. He's up there.
That's a good choice.
I would say Red Foreman, but he's like the same character as Frank on Raymond. And then, man, you're throwing me off by the laugh reel. The laugh reel's getting me now. I'm trying to think of a third, but because I was gonna go Ron Swanson, but that would not.
Also a great choice. But for me, it would similar. I'm with you there with that Kramer, goofball, just quirky, great show. Second one would be Chandler Bing, his quick wit, his
choice.
quick wit, just funny, just always found a way to make you laugh, and just at the most inopportune times. But
I
Chandler
prefer
Bing would
Joey,
be
but
on
that's
there.
okay.
Yeah, it might be like a synonymous. Those two is together. It's
Yep.
like a salt and pepper thing. And then my other one is from my all-time favorite show is Charlie Harper from Two and a Half Men.
All right, fair enough. I never really got into 2.5, but he's a good one. I've seen it. I don't mind it. All right. Next one is top 3 podcasts that you would like to either be on or have them on.
Ooh, okay. Pardon my take. Easy.
Otto, gotta be on there.
Yep. Pardon my take.
Tag him.
Yeah. Allow me to be frank with Frank the Tank. Have to.
Dude, Zach hates Frank the Tank. Hates
What?
Frank the Tank. He's hilarious.
No. He's the best.
He sucks, but he's hilarious.
And it would be if now more recently it'd have to be New Heights with Jason and Travis Kelce.
That is a good
I
podcast.
love listening to those two because those two. It's funny. They're funny. I love where Travis is the jokester, not a serious bone in his body, and then there's Jason, who very serious. You could tell they play different positions, and just seeing their different personalities clash, and they come together, and where they're just talking. Can remember one of the earlier episodes where Travis was giving Jason some shit for, I can't remember what it was, but they had to stop the podcast because he got so mad.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think it's those three.
I love their pod after the Super Bowl, especially like, I mean, it was a little more serious, but I liked when they were talking about like getting together with their mom, like after there. That's a good one. It's not in my rotation, but I would have to go. And this is purely off of just what I listen to. Pardon my take. Pat McAfee, he's a goat. And then Bussin' with the boys. I feel like Compton would just eat me alive, but it'd just be fun to go on the bus with those guys.
And then Taylor and I would bond, being the Michigan fans we are. So
that's what you think. You'd probably
roast Will. Well, I would hope an offensive lineman could kick my ass. If he can't, then we have problems.
He just would.
Yeah.
You'd just be like, you're not representing Michigan well enough. I'm gonna kick your ass.
Oh, that would be just not factual then, though. So
I don't know. All right, last one I got, and then we can wrap it. Top 3 people, dead or alive, that you want to have a beer with.
Ooh.
Or meal or whatever. You're hanging out. You're gonna be around them for an evening, and you're just shooting the crap.
Okay.
By the way, before you answer this, Mike Zier cannot be on there because I feel like we need a Mike Zier shout out.
Yeah,
Mike
we
Zier's
do.
Definitely top 5. But
yeah, well, and I've already had a dinner with him before. Last year at a hawk camp, they were with us. So in between one of the breaks, we went and ate as a staff. We went and ate. So I've already had dinner with Mike Zier, so I got that one done. So I think Tom Brady for sure. I don't know what we would drink, if it'd be like avocado tequila or what it would be, but I definitely want to sit down, hang out with him. Next one would probably be Michael Jordan. And then my third one. I'm trying to think here now. My third one. Who would that be? I had one in my head a while ago, and then I completely spaced it out. Like, because I was asking somebody if they could interview somebody who it would be, and it escaped my mind after. And that's exactly what's going to happen the next time, or when we finish recording here. Is I'm going to remember who I said.
Yeah, you're gonna
But
send me a text immediately. Like I should have done
yep.
this.
My um I almost would have to do something not sports related. I'll say Joe Rogan. I
There you
think.
go.
I think
I'm
that
gonna
would be
go.
a interesting conversation. I'd like to see where if I were on his podcast to see where we would go for 3 hours.
Oh yeah, you would learn some stuff for sure. I'm gonna go a completely different route.
Okay.
So I'm it's dead or alive. By the way, I don't know if you heard that, but
Yep.
so I'm going Chris Farley, pick
Oh,
number
that's a
one.
good choice. Yep.
I just feel like he would bring the energy. Number two is John Daly.
Oh, yep. Good
He's bringing
choice.
the Miller Lights. He's bringing the
You
party.
go have dinner with him at Hooters.
Oh yeah, and then Charles Barkley is my number three. So
All great
I feel
choices.
like I would need like some ab workouts before just because I'd be laughing so hard. But I feel like that would be I would just be able to sit there and just giggle my ass off listening to those guys go back and forth like and the fact that like Charles and John Daly were literally like top tier athletes is hilarious to me.
Yeah. Charles was a lot skinnier.
He was,
And
but still, even at that, he
John
wasn't.
Daly might be the most unhealthy human on the planet, and he was a world class athlete.
Either way, like just unreal. And then Farley is just going to be like filling in every little space of anything with all sorts of garbage.
Yep. Yeah, that all three great choices, and
I
yeah,
don't
I
know
will
if I'd be
definitely
able to
think of it
like.
later tonight.
I
You'll
don't
get
know
a
if I'd be
text at
able
like
to.
2:30 in the morning of me saying some random name.
Yeah, I feel like I would not be able to like stay up late enough for all of their shenanigans.
Yeah. So, huh. All right.
But
Well, what's the last question?
well, that was the last question.
Oh,
I
that
can come up
was.
with
Oh,
something,
gotcha.
but
Oh, okay. No, that's
that was
we
what I had prepared.
okay.
I gave you enough crap. I feel like we got some hypotheticals in.
We did.
I'm sure there'll be more. There always is. We always come up with something stupid, but that's all I had written down.
Okay. Well, that's a good way to end. We went for about 2 hours, so thank you. We will be doing it again at some point, Dylan. By the time this episode drops on Monday, we will it'll be barbecue pitmaster champion Dillon
I hope
Loper.
so. Oh man,
Yeah.
we're gonna need like an update if I won or all I know is they give the top three, so I'm guaranteed fourth. Because
Yeah,
if they
there you
don't
go.
announce my name, I'm just claiming fourth.
Hey, that's exactly. There you go. Nobody will ever know.
Nope, exactly.
So, well, alrighty, man. We will talk soon.
Sounds good, buddy.